Morning all. I'm just we'll starting the meeting. I'll just pause it for my camera and audio for a little bit, and then I will start again at 9:30. All right, thanks. So let's just get that ready. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Right, I'm just going to get started, and Jeff, I'm going to put you in the waiting room unless you turn your microphone off, because we can't have the music running through the whole of this. So thanks. If you can hear me, please turn it off. Okay, so yeah, welcome everyone. Good morning. My name is Pete Wright. I'm the race director, Croyde Triathlon, and thanks for joining us this morning. Hopefully you're all looking forward to the event next weekend. We've just got a short 7 days to go, and it's only 10 months since the last Croyde Triathlon. I can't believe we've got here already after COVID. We thought we might be in a slightly different position come July this year, but unfortunately we're still in a COVID lockdown situation, or as close to it. So we put on a great event. Sorry. Yes, going to pause there. Yeah, so yes, we've had some practice of putting on a COVID secure event. For those who didn't take part last year, we had a COVID secure event last September, so we know exactly what we're doing, and with 1 week to go, we just wanted to do the final pre-race briefing. As a reminder, this is compulsory, so if you've got any members of a team or relay that are also taking part, they also need to join it. You must watch it in full before you submit the declaration at the end, and there will be, I'll give you the declaration in a link at the end of the presentation. You can watch it as a recording, and I'll put that recording on YouTube and share it as soon as possible after the briefing today. So in terms of etiquette, I'm sure you've all been doing online briefings and meetings over the last year, 18 months. Just as a reminder, microphones off, turn cameras off if you can, just to try and save on bandwidth. If you've got any questions later on, then you can by all means turn your camera back on. You can use the chat function, but I on my own doing this today, and there's a couple of other events going on that people are involved in, so I will follow up at the end, but just use the chat function if you want to ask any questions, and I can go back through them. And it's being recorded, as I said, so please watch it again in your own time if there's anything you're unclear of, but try and save questions until the end. Okay, in terms of I'm going to cover the overview, just a welcome. Normally I'd be giving this on the day at the arena. I will be there clearly, but it's just a chance to welcome you to the event. I'm going to explain a little bit more about social distancing and how we're going to operate a COVID secure event, and then run through some of the pre-race information, event details, and then the questions and declaration at the end. So first of all, that's how it looked last year. So rather than having a big mass start line, this will be people going over the line one at a time. So it will still be a fun event. Oh, actually this year it'll be two at a time, but yeah, it will be a slightly different format. So in terms of welcome, I'd like to formally welcome you to Croyde Triathlon, the seventh one. I'd like to thank beforehand the event director, Mike Morris, as well as those who will be helping on the day, including our sponsors, the RNLI and the water safety team, families and friends and volunteers who will be taking part. You have over 100 people on the day who will be helping you to take part in this event. So we really appreciate everything they do to work tirelessly to make the seventh Croyde Ocean Triathlon possible. And also just thank you, our competitors. Without an event, without you all taking part, it wouldn't be possible, and we'd look forward to welcoming you to our little corner of North Devon. And this is what it looks like on a nice day, and hopefully we'll get a similar one like that next weekend. So on to the first part around COVID and social distancing. We are permitted by British Triathlon, as always, for our risk assessment. But this year they've also produced a nice little logo for saying we are a COVID secure event. And this is something I just need to run through with you to make sure that you're aware of things on the day. So in terms of safety elements, the main thing is we just need your cooperation. And I'm sure you've seen this in all briefings you've ever had about COVID now, but everybody's taking part, doing your own thing, maintaining social distance, hand cleanliness, face coverings and the like. All of those are really important to make the event run smoothly. It's going to be non-competitive. I mean, everyone will get their own time and be able to see where they've come as a position within in their category. But there is no prize giving on the day, and it will be a time trial format. So you will not know if the person in front of you is going to be faster than you on the day, or you only find out towards the end. In terms of the pre-race information, hopefully you've all had a chance to read through the pre-race email I sent, which has the race pack in it. It explains more details around some of the things you need to consider on the day, including about trying to reduce the number of spectators, some of the additional items that you require in transition. So I'll explain more about those as we go along, but the main things for the transition area are to have face covering and hand gel with you. You can take a bag. Really large bags will be removed by the technical official from British Triathlon who's there, but essentially you can set up in your own number position in transition, and you'll be good for the day. The start this year is going to be rolling start in pairs, so it'll be half the time it took last year. British Triathlon allow up to starts of 6 people, but for simplicity, for organisation, we're doing pairs, 5-second intervals. The one big difference from last year is we've got the full distance swim, so it's 1.5k for those keen swimmers amongst you. The moment the conditions have been really great in the ocean, so we haven't had big swell. It looks like it should be fairly low next weekend as well, so the swim should be fairly simple and hopefully uneventful. As part of the non-competitive format, we've got a neutral transition, so non-timed for 10 minutes for T1 and 5 minutes for T2. This is just to give people space, so please give people space in transition. You've got your own numbered positions, but when you're in there, just wait. You've got time, you don't need to rush to try and get past people, and just keep everybody safe. And also you've got to be self-sufficient. I flagged this again because last year I said, please try and be self-sufficient. We have one emergency water station, and it was quite warm conditions, but still a lot of people stop for water. And whilst we do set it up for that reason, the point is this is an event that you should be able to go out with a camelback or some sort of hydration pack with you, or bottles of water, and to try and complete it without needing to use the emergency water station. So you can take as many water bottles as you like into transition, 4 or 5, and you can use them after the swim, after the bike, on the bike, take some with you on the run, but please try and be prepared for that. And again, at the end, there won't be any result printouts or prize giving, but all of those things will be updated live from our times team from DB Max. If I move on for event details. Now, most of this briefing is going to cover the safety elements. I just wanted to cover arrival, just to try and clarify things as you're going through the day. When you arrive, this is the transition area. The transition area is the blue square on the map here. You come in by car if you come by car, or if you're living locally or staying locally, you can cycle into the event. Come into the car park. Through this field, there'll be a large area for parking over here. Please come out the southern exit of the field, cross through into the event arena via crossing the road here. Just be aware of vehicles. Socially distanced queue. If you need a bike mechanic, one question that came up a lot last year was mechanic. If people need any adjustments on their bikes, there is a mechanic who'll be in that corner of the field, and labour is free, but parts you need to pay for. So if there's anything that you suddenly find is not working, please go over and see them. And then you go into the entrance to the transition field crossing the road here. The next part of the day in transition is arriving. You need to show your race number. So each of you needs to write your own race number on your hand before you get there. Please try and use a Sharpie or some sort of permanent marker just to make sure it can be seen. And also, if you are a British Triathlon member, please have your your annual membership card with you, and then also showing either your declaration email or your registration email, so to prove that you're taking part in the day. In terms of transition, very similar to last year. The only difference really, if you didn't take part, so we have this is the main entrance. The transition is the swim in. We have the walk out to the bottom to the swim course is via the bottom left corner here to the swim start, and that is also going to be used as the non-competing relay members entry and exit. I won't go into too much detail here, but essentially if you're in a relay team, you need to use this entrance and exit only because each of you has a timing chip on and we don't want it to interfere with the timing mats. There is a video that I put on YouTube, which I should send you a link for if you're in a relay, just to kind of get a little bit more clarity around what I mean by that. But just please only use this entrance and exit when you're not competing. And then when the swimmer comes in, then you can hand over and in the normal way. Bike out, bike in, up in the top right of the field and run out to the top left. When you finish, it's over to the right from this picture, and that's where you'll be being watched in. So in terms of the course, we've got a 1.5K swim, 38K bike course and a 12K run. So this is the full distance, and what I'm going to do is run through with you a few things about the course. Before I do, I'm just going to show you what you're going to find in transition. So each of you will have a race pack that looks something like this. So it has the logo on the front, and then you'll have your name and number written in here. Inside the race pack, in addition to your timing chip, which you should put on your left ankle, it's a Velcro, will have the chip and the Velcro attached. Put it in your left ankle so it doesn't interfere with the bike chain mechanism or potentially get caught in it. You'll also find your swim hat, so that have the number on your swim hat. You'll find your race number. If you're in a relay team, have a red band across the middle. If you're in an individual, you have a white band. So the red band is just kind of make sure you know that you, and for the marshals to know which whether you should be going through the relay entrance or not. And you'll also find a set of stickers. So it's just two stickers. One goes on the handlebar, just put it over the central stem of your handlebars, and one that will go on your helmet. So these are two stickers you'll find in there that match your race number. One other thing you may find in there is from one of our sponsors, is a timing belt, but it's for your number, a race belt. If you don't have one of these, which the majority of you won't, please make sure you have pins, safety pins to attach it to yourself. There'll be two numbers, one for the front, which is for the run, and one for the back for the bike. If you've got a race belt, you can put it only one on and spin it around. The other thing you'll find in there, and I thought I'd just draw your attention to it, is the fabulous finishers medal that we give to everybody taking part. And rather than hand it over at the line, we're going to put it in your pack. Just as a reminder, in case people either haven't seen it before or in case you don't know, it's also a bottle opener. This end is a bottle opener, and it's got a magnet on the back, so you can stick it in the fridge to show proudly to your friends and family that you've completed the Croyde Triathlon. And rather than having a medal hanging up on a shelf, you can use it every day when you open up a beer or some other drink of your choice. Okay, so let me just now run through the course and the swim. So what you will do is at 7:30, we will put an announcement over the PA. We'll give you warnings beforehand, but at 7:30, the very first wave will head down, which will be the women's individual competitors. PA system will announce it. You'll head down as a group, socially distanced. There'll be somebody holding a number up saying this is wave one. Follow them down, and then you will queue along the beach in two lines to basically a double file down to the beach once you get near. You can acclimatise in the water if you want. Just make sure that you're back over towards the start time in time, so you can head over to the water. Bearing in mind, because it's a 1.5k swim, it is a kilometre's walk to the start, so don't spend too long going in and out of the water beforehand, acclimatizing. You'll then queue, socially distance in the swim holding area and walk forwards within your groups. You can go through in any order, but we'll just start you in pairs roughly every 5 seconds, and you'll be counted individually. It's really important that we can count everybody as you come through, because we'll do the same as you come out as well. So once you go through the start area, you'll head into the surf. We'll probably set up about 50 to 100 meters short of the low tide line for the surf before you're entering. Swim out past the first buoy, which will be a yellow mark to the straight out in front of you. Turn left at that one, past the red mark, which will be roughly halfway along, to the next yellow mark, and then back into the beach. When you come in towards the beach, just be aware that you could feel a little bit wobbly because you just come out of the water, but then once you clear the water, you just run towards the shore through 2 flags where you'll be counted out again. We have the chip timing and counting, but it will just always have a double backup with a manual count. If this is, so you can see it in pictures for those who like how it works, the person walking down the beach with the sign, across the start line, in through the finish, in out of the water, and then run up to the beach. If you are, for any reason, find yourself in difficulty out there, we have over 40 lifeguards, including our on-a-line surf lifesaving lifeguards, who will come to your assistance. Just roll onto your back, raise your arm up in the air, and they will come over and see if you're okay. If you feel that you just want to stop early and you don't want to complete the course, you can extract yourself from the sea. Ideally, let a lifeguard know before you do. But when you come out, please go up to the manual counters and pass back through that gate. Don't talk to the manual counters whilst they're counting, but please tell somebody, one of the marshals, either an arrival in transition or there's one of the marshals out by the water, just to let them know that you've stopped. They'll radio up to me and I'll just make a recording. You can carry on for the whole of the event, and you'll even have a time for your swim, but it just won't count against your overall time and placing. So if just to run through the colours of your hat, so you're aware, the first wave would be red for women, second wave would be yellow for the relay teams, and blue for the super vintage and vintage men, which is the over 50s. Then the third wave will be the veteran men, 40 to 49, and the fourth wave would be the senior men, which is 17 to 39. There will also be a few of you, and actually every year it's getting more and more, who will have a special third-time participant hat, saying that this is the third time you've taken part. If you have one of those hats in your bag, because you are a third-time participant, then you can choose to wear that on the day, and but just start in your normal wave. So go with your age category or relay, if that's who you're with. Just as a note, the run up to the beach is, once you've run from the water to the edge of the beach is around 300 or 400 meters, and then it's a similar distance up the hill to transition. So it is a long run off the beach, and the hill up the transition, all I say each year is it's generally easier to take your wetsuit off at the bottom than take it up at the top. So either, as you see this picture 3, she's taking her wetsuit down before she leaves the sea, start to unzip it, and then once you come to the slipway, please make sure you take it off there. You'll find it much easier to run up the hill rather than having a hot, dry, sticky wetsuit to get off when you get up there. Okay, next, once you get there to transition, your timing will stop. So this is the neutral zone for timing. You can give you as much time and space as you want. Don't spend too long. After 10 minutes, it will restart. The first thing, as always with triathlon, you must not pick up your bike from your rack until your helmet is on your head and fastened. So that's one of the things particularly the British Triathlon Technical Official will look for. So relay teams, once your swimmer comes in, the bike person can leave the rack at that point they've entered the transition area. They don't have to wait for them to get over. But again, because it's neutral time, there's no rush to do this. We're just saying that's the time when you can leave. The next step is, after that, you exit through a bike. There's a ramp on the top end of transition. Head out onto the road, just be careful in case it's wet or slippery. And the timer restarts as you cross the mat as you leave transition. You then head along the road a short way with still walking your bike, and then you come to the mount dismount line. So the mount line, the the marshal there will just draw your attention to it, and then once you're onto that, you can get on your bike and start racing. So as always, everybody taking part must abide by the highway code. It's an out and back course, and with the exception for this short part of the course shown in green here, between Putsborough and Georgeham, the roads are all open. So it's just that short section there that is closed. And to anyone who's done a course before or done a recce of it, it is narrow in certainly the early sections of the course. So please take it easy. The other addition I'd add is on that closed section of road in particular, they have resurfaced it in the last probably 2 months. And there is some gravel on, particularly now on the central section of that road. So you need to just take care when you're on corners or crossing that gravel line, because it could be slippery. Just after the start, there is a ford. It's only a very narrow one for those who've done it before, or shallow, should I say, and narrow. It's just cycle straight through it. There is a bridge, generally avoid it because that can be wetter and slipperier. And I've also uploaded a video to YouTube, which I'll show the link at the end for those who've not seen it before. It is a very small obstacle, but just so you're aware of it. So please take care on the narrow roads. Best to avoid crossing the gravel, particularly on the bends and on the return. The main first point to sort of draw your attention to after the ford is the right hand turn, a foot down stop, which we refer to as the pink house. Funnily enough, there's a pink house next to the turning. It's on the Woolacombe Road. It's a foot down stop. You must put your foot down and stop, not just touch it down and slide through. Anyone not abiding by this could receive a 5-minute time penalty, and if it's considered dangerous and the marshals will take numbers for dangerous behaviour, then you could potentially immediate disqualification, which could include not even being able to go out on the run course if it's considered dangerous. The next part of the road that is, there is a right-hand turn across traffic down towards the wind farm. This section is fast when on the way out, slower on the way back, it's a slight downhill. But there's a narrow, as you come to that junction, just be aware of oncoming traffic. Again, any dangerous manoeuvres could result in time penalties or disqualification. Along this road, I've just added additional reference this year to a narrow bridge. Nobody has ever had a problem on it, but it's always come back as a place where people might be considering to do something where they don't appreciate the problems. There are signs, there will be a marshal on either side of this bridge. It's just if you're overtaking and a vehicle's coming in the other direction or another cyclist overtaking from the other direction, just to be aware that there could be a point where you come near to someone else. So please take care on that part of the road. At the turnaround point, there's a large farm entrance. You can't miss it. You see it from a long way away, and you come scooting down at pretty high speed. There will be a marshal here in a pickup truck, as usual, who will be taking down numbers for everyone there in case anyone sneakily is turned around en route. I mean, clearly no one would be doing that, but the road can also be a little bit gravelly. So just be aware of that as you come down to the turnaround. On the way back, same issue of the narrow bridge, same rules apply. And the next thing is just again, partly from feedback from marshals last year, is the left-hand turn onto this road. A few people, because it is a give-way junction of turning left without necessarily taking much notice of the speed that the vehicles come from the right. It is a main A road. Cars can come quite quickly. So please make sure that you slow down and be prepared to stop, even if you don't need to stop. And from that point onwards, you head back to the pink house. It's a slightly blind left turn. Clearly you're going with traffic, but again, don't go out too wide or try and overtake people on that bend. And that will head you back towards the main event arena. Once you come to the sort of top of the hill, which is over to the right of this blue circle, you can see the transition area pretty much from there. The three things to draw attention to on the way back in are the bend at the bottom of this hill. There is, again, I put a video on YouTube, which are the links at the end, just emphasizing it is effectively, it's a hairpin bend. It's a bend that turns left and keeps going round to the left again. And if you don't slow down sufficiently, then you can end up in the farmer's track. There is also another foot down stop as you approach the Georgeham to Putsborough turn. As before, if you don't slow down, and it is a very fast descent down to there because it's straight down to a right-hand junction, you to be prepared to stop. If you don't, then again, time penalty or potential disqualification, dangerous behaviour. And then once again, back to the forward at the end, and that will bring you back into the event arena. So at this point, just to say, as you're coming on that closed road, it does swap to no longer being closed once you reach the buildings in Putsborough Village. So please make sure that you slow down and get back on the left-hand side of the road before racing through a village where it could be vehicles. You then get back to the dismount line. So please dismount before the line, and you will be ready to go into transition up the ramp. Again, time will stop as soon as you get up into the up the ramp and cross the timing mat. Same as before, relay teams, once the bike's into transition, you can start from your relay, from your racking position from the run, and off you go. Okay, so the run course, it's going to be well signed and marshalled, as always. Just for both of those, just a reminder that whilst all of these details are available here and now and in the race pack, you are responsible for your own route finding on the course. So whilst I give all the briefings I can and the marshals and signs are out there, please be aware where you're going, so which includes when to slow down and stop. So the course will have no water stations, except, as I said earlier, there's an emergency water station which will be at the Baggy Lodge Cafe this year. So as you head out onto the course, be aware of the step as you come out of transition onto the road. You head in through the car parking field and run past the forward. So again, the forward is just a place where to be aware that cyclists will be coming if you're one of the early people from your left-hand side as you're running across. So just be aware before you come racing across the course. Then you pass over the Manor, past the Manor pub in Croyde. It's a narrow lane down, farm track down to that point. It is an off-road run, I should emphasise. If you're it's not wet at the moment particularly, but yeah, road shoes will be fine, but you may find a little bit of extra grip might be helpful. Yeah, so as you're going past the Manor pub, just again be aware of traffic approaching from either side before you head up the route onto the hill. There are steep steps. They've done a lot of work on the improving the steps down to off Saunton Down. Make sure you're taking the views at the top. It's one of the most stunning views on the course. But yeah, as you're coming down to the steps, please take care because they are pretty steep. The next major point, and pretty much the last significant point on the course, is the crossing at Down End, which is a road crossing off the coast path. So it's you're following the southwest coast path down to the road. You'll cross the road, run along the other side of the road, and continue on the coast path. There are marshals on either side. There's lots of signage for cars, but again, you must only cross when you consider it safe to do so. When you get to Croyde Beach, that's roughly halfway on the run course. As you hit the stream on Croyde Beach, you're 6k in. There is a stream in the middle of the beach, roughly where the arrow is. It's just best just to run through it, and I would suggest you stay on the wetter sand rather than on the soft dry sand that's further up to the beach. You'd basically run below the high tide line just to make sure it's not so difficult on your legs. Cramp will probably set in by then if you haven't. Then you exit the beach, run along the last part of the road up towards Baggy Point, and that's where the emergency water station will be on your right-hand side. And then you continue around the headland all the way back, stunning views, all the way back to transition and run into the transition. Once you're there, the timing will stop. You'll get a round of applause from everyone who's there, the excitement that goes with it, and the sensation that you've completed Croyde Triathlon 2021. I just want to mention a couple of other things to be aware of. No littering. I know it sort of should go without saying, but we want to keep the whole run course as stunning as possible, and the whole bike course. We want to leave no trace out on the course. So if there's anyone seen either intentionally littering or not picking things up, then people will be disqualified if been reported back. One other thing to be aware, on your race number, you have an emergency contact number on the bottom. This is my telephone number. Each of you will be able to, if there's any difficulty, then please either find a marshal or a member of the public who with a phone with them to call us. If there's anything that happens and you decide to stop or not continue, please make sure you call that number so we don't send out a search party. And we also have 3 ambulances that will be out on the course for effectively minor injuries, who can deal with things as they happen. But if there is anything more serious, then we will use the normal Southwest Ambulance Service service. So look out for each other. As always, you're our eyes and ears out on the course. So if you see anything, anyone's in trouble, then please let the next marshal know. The serious trouble, please stop and help, but remain socially distanced as best as you can, or continue to the next marshal and let them know. If you see anything suspicious out on the course, please let a marshal know as well. And if you have any problems or any issues on the day, please remain as polite and calm as possible with marshals. If there's an issue you're having with the event, try and find me or Mike Morris, the event director, and we will handle your questions. The transition will close from around 1:30. Please make sure you remove your bike and equipment before then. Whilst we're not responsible for theft and things, loss or theft during the day, we will be checking everyone out as they go with their race number matches their bike number. But if you decide to go to a surf after the race, which we had a few people last year, and then when they come back, everything's been taken down. So just please make sure you don't leave all your equipment there for the rest of the day. So the declaration, I'll show you the email address for that shortly. I just wanted to point you to some YouTube videos. I'll put these links in an email as well. So this is explaining some of those points that I've said on the course, so that you can get a little bit more understanding around what you'll come across. So I'll ask some questions shortly, but for those who don't have any questions, you can go straight to the website for croydeocean.co.uk/declaration. And you can now submit your declaration, which will say that you have no COVID symptoms, that you are sufficiently trained and healthy to take part, and that you, if you have any problems around COVID in the build up to the event, that you will let us know. So that's the main things around the declaration. But in the meantime, before we get to any questions, the main thing, I'd just like you to enjoy it. We really proud of being able to put on this incredible event in Devon. It's grown over the years. So many people come back for more, as you'll see from the number of gold hats on the day. We just want you to enjoy it. It is stunning, but it is also can be savage. But when you get back to the race HQ at the end, you'll enjoy the feeling of achievement. So, okay, thank you for listening. I will do my best to handle any questions as they come in. If you want to ask a question, please put your hand up. If you have a written question, please, I'm just looking at answers. So yeah, I'll go through the questions I've got on the chat first, and then if there's other questions, please put your hand up. So yeah, we had a few issues with Jeff. So are we allowed to keep our belongings in a plastic bucket in transition? No hard-sided boxes are allowed in transition is the answer to that one, which I think miss who wrote that. Ash, no, lots of questions are rushing in now. Emma, yeah, so you have to have a bag, a soft bag, but not a hard-sided box or bucket. Can a spectator walk up to the swim start? Yes, the beach is open, so anyone can walk with you up towards the beach start. If you want to hand things over to someone at the beach start, you can. One thing I didn't mention, but is in the race pack, is that it is compulsory wetsuits because of the time of the year and the temperature. British Triathlon have given us an exemption on optional wetsuits, just because the sea temperature, whilst it's just hit 14 degrees, but the air temperature, particularly at that time in the morning, can be very cold. Where can supports be during the event? Ashley, if you need to clarify, I'll answer it as best I can. For supporters can be anywhere on the course. It's open. There is the transition field, so the event field, where there is going to be food and drinks in there as well. So supporters can hang around there. In terms of support for you on the course, obviously all the marshals. We do have a sweep van that will follow the last cyclist, and a sweep runner that's follow the last runner. The sweep van will pick you up if you have any issues with your bike, but they are not there to fix your bike. Any mechanicals you have to handle yourself. On the bike, when you have to put your foot down, do you have to put both feet down? No, you just have to put one foot down and stop. So your wheel should not be, thanks Ashley, so supporters clarifying. Yeah, so supporters can be anywhere on the course. So if you want to let them know where to go. When will you receive our race numbers? So your race numbers for the day is, so you know which number you are, that will go out in an email ahead of the event. So after I've sent the race video, the briefing video to everyone, I will send you your race number so you can write it on your hand. I just need to finalize the start list with our timing people, and once I have that, I will send it on to you. Can a spectator hand out water over to etc. on the run? Yes, if you've got someone who's on the run course who's in your support bubble, then by all means they can hand water out to you. Can we wear gloves, boots, mitts if suffering from circulation, etc.? That is a possibility, Sarah. But it's yeah, I'd say that hopefully the sea temperature isn't sufficient that you would need them, but just in case, you can certainly wear. Yeah, actually, Sarah, let's follow up on that one afterwards. I'd say unless there's a medical exemption, you shouldn't be wearing boots and gloves as part of the course. So please let me know if that is the case. Do spectators have to register attendance prior to the event? If there are spectators coming with you, we would like to have their details only for a track and trace purpose. When you put your declaration forward, then we'll ask you to submit their details, and that should be fine. So what size would you say is reasonable for a bag in transition? We will allow, there's more space than you would conventionally get in a transition area. So a holdall, like a reasonable size holdall, and that's, you know, for argument's sake, let's say like a meter long holdall, but not too wide, something that you can keep space between you next to your bike. But yeah, not a significant, you can't bring in a rolling suitcase or anything like that. Is a non-British Tri member is a day membership required? No, Stuart, and your entry fee includes a day membership as part of the fee which we pass on to British Triathlon as part of our event process. Can we use a camelback when cycling, which will potentially cover the number on your back? You can wear a camelback, but if you are going to wear it, I would suggest you put the number on top of your camelback, or at least be wearing a race belt that covers it. You must have your race number visible at all times. Is the foot down and stop apply out and back? There is one foot down stop on the way out, and it only counts when you're crossing a lane of traffic turning right from a giveaway junction, and it's the same on the way back. There's one, and it's not the same one in Georgetown. And if you look back at it's just places you're passing on the way out. You pass the foot down stop, you don't need to stop. Get to the pink house, stop there, and on the way back, you don't have to stop at the pink house, you only have to stop at the one in Georgia. Can we camp in the parking area? Unfortunately not, Steve. There are lots of campsites nearby, including Coombs Farm, which is just down the road. The caravan site at Putsborough is generally booked years in advance, so it won't be there. But no, you unfortunately can't camp in the parking area. Is the route on the bike marked out? There are signs all the way along the course, giving you indications where it is. There's no markings on the road. It's just signage, arrows, and caution cyclist signs, things. Assume if you don't, until you see the next sign, you don't need to go in a different direction other than the carriageway you're on. Mary G, thanks a million, you're welcome. Can family members arrive later and park in their car at the car park? They can, Dina. The one thing I would say is that anything that involves additional traffic in the area can be challenging, because we close one of the roads. It's only one other road into the site, so they may just get caught in traffic. The other thing is, when you're going out and back on the cycle course, there is a small window where all the cyclists are out. So if they arrive, which would roughly be between 9:30 and 9:45, then all of those the cyclists will be out on the course, and before they start to return, that's the best time if someone's going to arrive. Or you wait until after all of the cyclists have got back, which would be around about 11:45, and then at that point they can come in and park, and then the runners will not be, they won't be interfered with. Stu Payne, thanks. That's no worries. Will the gates be held open until the end? Last year, we'll touch on later on gate every pass, which wasn't ideal pre-COVID. Yeah, the gates should be open with marshals at them. Clearly, we can't open and shut, but some of them aren't able to. There's kissing gate at one point, and we'll do our best to have marshals near them. But again, as soon as you get back into transition area to the finish area, there will be hand gel so everyone can hand sanitize, and there will also be a water bar, which will be a standpipes for people to fill up their own water bottles at the finish area. So please come back in. Video link for team races private at the moment. Yeah, so yeah, I will send that on to you, Mike. It's just I uploaded it and it may have just been in draft and private, but I will send it on. Access closed to the car park. So on arrival, the car park will be open from around 5:30 in the morning. Most of the event staff will be on site from 4:30. Lucky us. And if you are in the first wave, or say women start, then you need to be in and ready in transition by 7:30. So the car park is open until everybody's there, but if you are taking part early, I would say you need to be aiming for nearer 6 o'clock to be in the car park, to then go and get yourself ready. And the 7:30 is kind of the last point where before we start sending people down to the beach. So from that point onwards, whilst the car park will be open, you're starting to miss your chances to start. Although clearly, because it's a rolling start, if you are slightly late, don't panic. You can just start within another wave, and then your time will start from then. But I would just say try and stay with your people. Is it obligatory to take a drink with you on your run course? Todd, no, it isn't obligatory if you think you are able to cope without needing a drink. But I would just warn you, if it's a hot day, which it often can be, and even not, a 12K run without any water is going to be a challenge. So I would just say, just use your common sense, and if you think you can run without one, then go for it. But otherwise, take one. Are aero bars allowed on the bike? They are. There's not really an awful lot of, as long as they don't project beyond the front wheel of the bike and all those other sort of rules on British Triathlon. So please check out the British Triathlon rules on that, Jamie and Cody. But it is a more technical course. A standard bike without aero bars would be fine. The only thing, if you've got gear shifters and things on your aero bars, I would say that the maneuverability is not perfect for using it on the course. Last week, part of the course just set up for the Manor Pub and the run is very overgrown. Yes, so that is cleared. So today is actually the North Devon Marathon. I mentioned an event that's happening, and that will be cleared. We don't clear it too quickly, otherwise you get all the brambles grow back. So that is fine. So Chloe, when to receive the race pack? The email version of the race pack you should have already received. If you haven't received it, please email me at info@croyde.co.uk. On the day, you just get when you get to transition area, you will get the pack that I just showed, something like this at your transition point, which has all of the equipment that you need in it. So one of the goggle bags with your name and a number written on it, and that's where you will find your race pack. Jamie Cody, very comprehensive. Okay, are there any other written questions that you want to drop in? Or if you want to raise your hand, if I can do my best to find it. I've got another new message. With the start, will we be set off in number? No, so the start, you can go in any order. No, it's just saying keep the groups of red hats together, then the yellow and blue hats together, then green and orange. Just keep people in groups because you'll be racking near each other. So that's part of the reason. But you can go off in any order you wish. Does the time mat on the beach at swim exit start at T1 time? So yeah, there is a time mat at the bottom of the beach, which is just to say this is when the swim finished, and then you've still got the run to transition, which is time separately. No, the swim will finish at the beach, but you still have the run to transition. So the T1 time will only start once you get into transition. Okay, how we access these recce videos? Can't find the links on the website or on YouTube. So these I will post. I'll add to the the email I send out with. So either type in the code. They're all currently private or unlisted, so you should be able to type in these web addresses that I put there. But if that doesn't work, I will add them to the briefing email I send out with the recording of this video. On Croyde Beach, there is a public drinking tap. Are we allowed to drink refill from it? Yes, there shouldn't be any reason why not. I'm just trying to think where the tap is, but if you're aware of one, then you can do that. If I've done relay once and solo once, will I get a gold hat this year? If you said on your form, Ben, that this is your third year taking part, then you will get a gold hat. You just have to put it in, make sure that we know about it. But I'll do my best to remember, Ben. Thanks. What time is for the road closure for spectators? Oh yeah. So the road closure goes in from 7:30 in the morning. We have it closed until 12:30 in case there's any issues. But if you, just try and be there well ahead of the road closure for in the morning. So yeah, you can still travel down from Georgian, and the marshals who are up on that junction will be able to allow you to come through if you are still heading to the arena. But if it's getting to the point where we're just about to set people off, then we won't be able to let you through. Will headphones be permitted on the run? It's British triathlon rules, which are no headphones. So I would, well, the answer is no, under British triathlon rules, and there is a technical official who will be there, and that will probably be one of the things that they would spot as soon as they see you doing that. So just putting time chip under wetsuit at the ankle. Yep, good reminder, Robert. Yeah, if you when you're putting your time chip on your wetsuit, just make sure that it is underneath your wetsuit. For when you're pulling off your wetsuit at the water's edge, then you could lose your timing chip. A reminder, the timing chips they're charged to us at £75 per chip for lost chips. If you lose your chip, that unfortunately would have to be passed on to you. So good tip from Robert. And then the relay teams, any members, if you have finished your leg, please return the chip to one of the chip buckets that will be by the relay entry exit, because that will save those getting lost as well. So that should be fine. Right, thanks. Right, cheers, Ben. Glad you appreciate it. Right, I can't see any hands up, but if you are trying to put your hand up and I haven't seen it, please let me know by writing in the chat. Otherwise, if there's nothing else, any beer for sale at the event? Unfortunately, Mike, there is no beer for sale at the event. We are not a licensed event, but there is a cafe down at the at Putsborough Beach, which I think is licensed, so you could go and get one from there. All right, that's it. No worries. Thank you. If there's nothing else from anybody, I will wait another couple of minutes. I will pause the recording and leave it there. But if anyone wants to ask anything, just let me know. Same chip around the run. So Dina has asked a question: do you keep the same chip for the run, swim, bike, and run? If you are an individual, yes. If you are a relay member, no. There will be 3 chips in your bag. Ben's asked, there's a caterer? Yes, there are 2 caterers this year. We've got Hippie Happy Hoppers and Royale Kitchen, who will be served. So Hippie Happy Hoppers is like Sri Lankan breakfast and brunch type things. Some great food options, and then Royale is more bacon sarnies. Oh, and Hippie Happy Hoppers should be doing porridge as well. Any others? Lots of thank yous. Appreciate it. If not, I'm starting to wind down. We've only got 100 people left. But if there's nothing else, I will press pause. I don't know. Can we put on our numbers for the cycle run in the transition area? Yes. Jimmy, if you're saying about Jamie and Katie, your race numbers. Oh, you mean for if it's on your hand, then you have to do it before you get there. So please write your number on your hand before you get there, and then once you get in there, you can put your number on your for your front and back for your run and bike respectively. If you're a 2-person relay, do you need to use all 3 times? No, you don't. Rowan, you will just use 2 timing chips. If you're only shown as a 2-person relay, you will only have 2 chips in your goggle bag. So there'll only be 2 chips in there. Okay, see you next week, David. Yeah, that's great. Any others? Did the link to the COVID declaration get posted? I did show it. Let's just check whether, let's go forwards. There's the link. If I will just put this in the chat to everyone. So the link is, oh, sorry. Right, I've posted it in the chat. Johnny's buzzing for next week. That's great. So am I. Okay, I think, yeah, so the declaration's there. We had a technical issue with the declarations last year. You'll get an email confirmation as well as an on-screen confirmation. So if there's any doubt, then we also be able to get the declaration information from the back end of the website. So we won't need to go out and check with anyone if they've submitted it, because we had a few problems last year. But that's learning how to cope under COVID. Okay, down. Any other questions? You're welcome, Richard.